Story time for you. In 1932, the Australian people declared a war on a flock of birds. To make a long story short, they lost this war. The enemy, the emus, were too fast, they were too dispersed. It took too much energy for the Australians to realistically continue to wage war and resources on these fucking birds. They knew that direct war and conflict was simply unwinnable. Valve is dealing with their own similar situation right now. And in the same way, it's simply futile to wage a war directly. So they're trying something different, and because of that, it's having effects on the market. So let's start from the beginning. September 10th, 2025, graphic design gets announced to be removed from the Armory rotation. Exactly 22 days later, it gets removed and is replaced with the new Armory charms and Armory stickers, October 1st, 2025. This was the third instance of a 6-month update schedule to the Armory. October, April, October, every 6 months, and all updates were on a Wednesday. And into March of 2026, these patterns were steadily holding, or so we thought. Prices were trending upwards, the sentiment was positive in the market in general, which is why I personally had my targets locked in on mid-March. If we were expecting an update on April 1st or March 31st, then we would expect the same 22-day announcement to removal technique. So that would designate March 10th as the day in which we want to have our items in our inventory and tradable. March 10th comes, March 10th goes, and we get nothing. Fine, I thought maybe the 22-day waiting period was a one-off, right? After all, in October, that was the first Armory rotation that ever occurred. Previously, people didn't even know if there was going to be a rotation. Some were speculating that the Armory would just stay as is. Collections would be added, but no collections would be removed. So with the rotation announcement, there was obviously some people that needed to play catch up that time. This time, that wasn't needed. We were expecting the Armory update. So maybe they give us a 1-week notice or a 3-day notice. And suspicions were sort of confirmed. On March 26th, a huge bot ban wave came into effect, affecting, I believe, 900,000 bots banned. Inventories that were farming Armory stars, inventories that were connected to the accounts farming Armory stars. It was a systematic crackdown, taking out a lot of stars from circulation, restoring some faith to the Armory, and temporarily stopping the bleeding, albeit for only a few days. Obviously, we know now we didn't get a 3-day notice or a 1-day notice before April 1st because nothing happened. Before this, the bot ban waves were actually a very good sign of when content was dropping. Typically, you can estimate around a week after that bot ban or the subsequent Wednesday, whatever falls first. That's when we're going to get our content surrounding the bot ban wave. We didn't get the Armory, but we did get Anim Graph 2, or at least the beta on April 1st. Aside from the first couple of days of immediate patches that needed to be addressed, nothing else happened news-wise, which led to a grim outlook. And that's because Valve typically takes vacation in the month of April. So after that first week or so, a lot of people started to lose hope, and rightfully so. When you condition a player base to expect something on a certain day, every day it doesn't happen feels like an eternity. And then out of nowhere, on April 21st, being pushed out to the full build, we get our announcement. As we know, Train, Sport and Field, Elemental, and Sugar Phase 2, the collections being removed. So we have the news. Now, the news was late, over a month late. This update was released on a Tuesday, so maybe we get the rotation tomorrow. Of course, that didn't happen, but that was wishful thinking after all. I mean, did we really expect 2 big updates in the same week? A little bit of a stretch. So maybe next week? No. Or the week after? No. The week after that? No. And yesterday? No. And with today being the 21st of May, that marks exactly 1 month since the Armory rotation was initially announced. Even longer than the first Armory rotation announcement. Now, objectively, from a business standpoint, this truly doesn't really make too much sense. I feel like there has to be something going on underneath. They had a lot to capitalize on during this. Skins.com is the newest sponsor on our channel. They have just released a P2P trading platform looking to compete with the best players in the space. If you don't want to wait that long, they do have an insta-sell feature on the site in which the rates are the best I've seen, just straight up. When the market is down, everything is on sale. And with the deals you're getting on skins.com, you could start your position basically up 20 to 25%. Try out skins.com and be a part of the future of CS2 skin trading. I will have a code soon, so stay tuned for that this month. Anim Graph 2 was the game-changing update, and to their credit, it absolutely was. Cash was added back, I believe, a week or a week and a half later. We got new gloves when we were supposed to get the armor rotation, so new guns to match your new gloves. They had so much opportunity to capitalize off of, and they didn't. From the outside, it looks like they're just trying to enrage their player base, and maybe they are. Is it incompetence? I doubt it. Getting shit on time from Valve is notoriously not something that happens. But regardless, it's the reality, and regardless of how we got to this reality, that's just how it is, so let's look at it. Because I think the landscape has changed a little bit, and their attitudes towards certain systems in the game have changed as well. Now, I made a video a couple of weeks, or maybe a month or two ago at this point, about bot farms in CS2, and that to a degree, they're actually a positive to the game. When you have bot farms and you have these scheduled ban waves that Valve does right before updates, what you do is you allow them to farm and provide liquidity to the market, profit off of that, but you don't allow them to profit off of the big content updates because of the scheduled bot ban waves. On top of that, you also don't allow them to keep their inventories, right? If you have the looming threat of a ban and you don't know when that ban is coming, as soon as you get your item, you're going to immediately sell it. So you have these bots just providing liquidity for whatever profit they make. Once you ban them, they buy a new Prime account, they buy a new Armory pass, Valve makes money, you have cheaper items, everyone wins. Now that's still absolutely true, but it's a double-edged sword for Valve. Because even if bots get banned right before updates, they still could take advantage of the Armory in between those Armory updates. Now if they get too comfortable, what you do is lower the ROI, which gets rid of the actual player base buying Armory passes. And if normal players stop using the Armory, well then you lose your long-term main source of revenue for the game. So is it worth going after the bot farms directly? Probably not. You're gonna look like Australia pretty quickly. You ban one account, a new one pops up the day after. So what I think they're doing with this Armory rotation, and by deliberately going off pattern, going off track, they've pretty much killed sentiment successfully, and they're hurting bot ROI, but they're not hurting your ROI explicitly. Now, we should be no stranger to this before. They have done it with charms. They added sticker slabs and the charm collections, which were, for a long time, one of the more profitable things inside of the Armory, were deemed pretty much useless in the span of 24 hours. Now, that doesn't sound like an anti-bot move, but it definitely is. It takes away half of the Armory for bots to go into. Thus, they have to concentrate their forces, making each instance of each bot a little bit less profitable. And now, the Armory delay. Currently, the Overpass collection sits at like 70% ROI. Why would you open that? You're not. So supply stays relatively the same. The only thing driving prices down right now is sentiment. If the bots redeem it, they have to sell immediately because there's a bot ban wave right before big content drops. For you though, you don't have to worry about that. You can redeem at a 70% ROI, you could buy the skins outright while sentiment's low, hold for a year, and your money's right back where it was started. The bots no longer benefit though. Humans aren't gonna have the same problem as bots because we can just hold for a month, 2 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, however long your heart desires. Bots can't wait that long. You gotta pay for power somehow, right? If your bot farms aren't making any money, well then it's not really a profitable endeavor now, is it? Now, why now do they want to get rid of bots more than they did before? Why has my argument changed? I say this because it looks like Valve is trying to lower supply across the board. I think they know they have an oversupply issue, which is why I believe they added the knife trade-up update in the first place, or at least one of the reasons for it happening. But knives are unique in their animations. There's a ton of different ones, and there wasn't so many instances of knives even before the update. So there is an oversupply now, but they're still demanded enough in which you can justify trading up to them, creating all that pressure on the top and not on the reds, right? A Navaja Safari Mesh, $50, sure. But when you only allow trade-ups to reds, you have like the sawed-off Kraken sitting at 50 fucking cents, kills case ROI. People don't open cases, that's less keys, that's less money for Valve. Now, terminals have a different system. Terminals, I believe they want to keep the prices of the terminal itself rather inflated. If you've opened the terminal in the last couple of weeks or months since it came out, all of the blues are 4 cents. Stat Track, Factory New, Minimal Wear, even some purples can be as low as like 50 cents. Well, when your terminal's $1.90 like it is right now, and you can get a Minimal Wear M4 for 4 cents, you've effectively opened a case, got a blue, for the price of less than 1 key, and that's completely disregarding the price of the case. So in the current state, combined with the fact that people don't redeem every time they open a terminal, you can simply just close it out and ignore it, Valve has incentive to keep prices a little bit higher. If you look at the Genesis terminal, the price of the terminal has gone to basically peanuts because it's been out for a while now, but the price of blues has increased to kind of offset it. So they still make their 15% off the terminal being bought, and the blue that you get from the terminal being sold on the market and transferred and circulated around, but it is less, right? A lot of cases just end up being shitty blues, but they still get 250 plus 15% of whatever that case was. Yes, they make more off purples, pinks, reds, and knives, but now they have incentive. As terminals take over active drops, they have pure, explicit incentive to keep the prices a little bit higher, a little bit more inflated for as long as possible. Now, bots definitely farm weekly drops, but they definitely also farm the armory. So if you get rid of the armory as a viable way in which to access items and access profit, you kind of hurt a lot of profitability. Maybe that bot farm that you had in Eastern Europe no longer becomes profitable. Sure, you may have one in Africa that is still profitable just off weekly drops. That's fine. As long as they get rid of some bot farms, I believe that's what they're trying to do, or at least how I'm making sense of what they're doing. It could be pure incompetence. Sure. Is it reasonable? Maybe. But they're not fucking stupid, right? They created a very successful economy in a video game. I don't think they're that completely oblivious. They're fighting. Valve's Australia. Bots are the fucking bird emus. We're unfortunately collateral damage. But I think in the future, the long term, I think they have yours and my best interest. For we are why the economy keeps going. Let me know what you think. Peace.